that's enough of the pop music. Hope you're all doing well today. This is this week's show. I'm just going to go back and kind of review some of the topics from the past and sort of pick up a thread from that. As I described before, I went through a number of investigations at DC are related to banking, films, the entertainment industry in the U.S., actually national security issues, and unfortunately Russian stuff. And a lot of this is because when I was a young girl, I was actually taken from my family and was stuck with a couple of Russian people way too long in my life. And it had a lot of commentary involved, I think, a lot to say about the U.S. systems, as well as literally what was going on, that there were some people who cared and so many good people who worked to help me get out of it. And at the same time, that it took so long because I couldn't get a protective order until the age of 39. And the two people involved they turned out to actually be people who really were pretty high up working for Russia. And it just, because of a certain amount of assets being installed in the U.S. government, it was just extremely difficult to get what I needed for myself, which was to get away from some really weird people that wanted me to work for free. And unfortunately, I got stuck working for an entertainment company, likeness, books, movies, TV shows, songs. A huge number of songs were used, and it was all just taken from me. It was just all extortion. And during the investigations, one thing that we put together, because there was a huge number of people involved who were really caring, that really wanted to solve the problems. And these videos are for me as much as for anyone else because it's an independent thought project. But please don't ever think that they're for somebody who's sympathetic to Russia, because that's literally the opposite. It's for pretty much everybody else who's sick of the trafficking. And that's what it's really about. People lose their children all the time in this country. They don't know where they go, and they lose them to traffickers, and it's horrible. And in my case, it was an extremely complicated, overly difficult situation. I ended up with contacts in foreign countries. I ended up looking at my own government, but I had to put together my own coalition of people in order to get a basic protective order. I couldn't get to the age of 39. Now, one thing about the investigations is the way they were set up is we set everything up to look to sort of look like it was one way, but what we were actually looking at during the process was that this company that had trafficked me for so much material and was so successful in it was looking at their connections, because they had so many connections in the U.S. government, people that are paying off, people who turn out being exposed as Russian assets. And then there was the films themselves and the songs and books and materials that they were producing, because it was really obvious that a lot of the materials were actually aimed, unfortunately, it's scary stuff, were actually aimed at actual witnesses. And I didn't even realize how bad it was myself until they showed me, but U.S. government made a big point of showing me. The other thing that I noted back in the 2000s, when we dealt with so much aggressive behavior from Russians in the D.C. area and people working for the Russian government and people working for businesses owned by Russians that were clearly serving Putin, was that they were very big on telling people what they were doing and making it overt and acting as if we somehow knew it, then that meant everyone else was guilty. Well, it doesn't. It means that the rest of us are being threatened and abused and terrorized. I had a dog that I had to have put down because she was raped. Part of the extortion for me was that I was being terrorized and my dog was raped repeatedly. And I had to have Penelope put down early because of it. Please don't ever think any of my shows are going to be good content for kids. They're more probably something that most people who've lived through some things in their lives or people who want to raise kids would want to be involved in. But so if you get something out of it, great. If not, oh well. Just move on to another show, do something else. For me, 20 years ago, I had a really horrible meeting with this guy who's an exec, runs one of the companies. And, he literally told me that he only pays people who work for Russia. He was specifically into kids. And he was looking for me to be someone not only worked for free, but he expected me to groom kids for him to use and abuse. And I said, no, of course. And we had a huge fight. And he got really mad and said he was going to mess with my career. I couldn't go to medical school because of it. Couldn't go to nursing school because of it. I've had people that seriously, even to this day, still want to have a fight about it. And what are they even fighting about? They're fighting about the right to serve Russia and abuse kids and run drugs, because that's the other thing he did. He said he ran drugs basically in order to fund this company. And the U.S. government knows this. And believe me, things really are underway. Things are on the move. But if you think, oh, everything's fine because Weinstein and Epstein seem to be under control, well, they're not. And the reason is that I managed to corner a woman who actually worked for the Russian government. She was willing to tell the U.S. government essentially that this man was a stupidly well-trained Russian operative. Well, there we go. So he really is somebody that has worked for the KGB in the past and really is running operations out in Hollywood in this company. And he has a huge slew of borderline crazy women supporting him. And a lot of these stories you hear about abuse related to Hollywood, these bizarre stories where women are being attacked or men are being attacked and there's like animal abuse and people are getting crazy, it's actually not just that they're nuts. You're actually looking at a form of warfare related to the Russian government. And it's made more obvious when you consider the amount of propaganda put into some of these films. Now, One thing I chose to do because I was being asked for free and wasn't being paid is that I just told the government, I said, I'm going to start getting stuff that's really bad. And I put things there that look bad because I'm not being paid for any of this. And my abilities to work in other fields and do other types of jobs are being messed with. To this day, I'm still a poor person. I still got, weird issues with my banking and everything because, well, everyone has weird issues with banking these days, but a lot of that is related to some of these terrorist groups because they hire hackers to mess with people's accounts and to try to make things just so, and nothing is just so anymore. The governments have changed. People have made up their minds. Putin's losing another weapon system every day in the Ukraine, and it's hilarious. It's something to be really happy about. But the reality is that, Hollywood is a Russian machine, and its downfall is the best thing that could ever happen to this country. Best thing that could ever happen to the U.S. Because we have plenty of entertainers and artists and people who can perform that don't live out there. And I say that because there's been a number of actresses and other people who've reached out to me over the years to ask for advice. I'm a poor person. They pay me for the advice. They just want to know what to do. And I just said, get out of it. Get out of the industry. You're being abused and treated terribly and beaten and whatever else might be going on. And get away from it. I'm sorry if you love it or if it's something you're really passionate about, but there's a lot of things to do in this world that don't have anything to do with Hollywood. And you can do your own independent projects. You can do your own independent work. You can do all kinds of other jobs, but find something else to do because that place is just way too messed up. And I went out to LA for the last time in 2012 and I don't plan to ever go back. I'd even thought about auditioning for some singing shows and decided it just wasn't worth my time because I have this thing called dignity and self-respect. So, yeah, integrity. So, anyways, and yeah, I am really prideful about that because that's something that's really important to me. My whole life, I'll never be more proud I was in the way I handled that guy 20 years ago because I have no support or care for people that want to traffic kids. The things he said to me were just disgusting. And he openly talked about running drugs, abusing kids, abusing other people, expecting everything for free, how he only paid people who worked for Russia. And I've noticed that he put himself on a board in a town that's had some problems. And my only advice for anybody dealing with anyone that demands you work for free, especially for the entertainment industry, is tell them to get a life and no. Just say no. Just no. 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 And a few more no's. No, 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 no. And then run away. And get help from the police if you have to. So, anyways, I'm going to sing Jewels Who Would Save Your Soul. We'll see how well I do with it. It's an interesting old song from the 90s, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. People living lives for you on TV. They say they're better than you, and you agree. He says, hold my calls, boy, from behind those cold brick walls. Says, come here, boy, there ain't nothing for free, yeah. Another bill, another bill, another cute, cheap thrill. You know you love him if you put him in your will, but who will save your souls when it comes to the flowers now? Who will save your souls after all this lie that you told, boy? And who will save your souls if you won't save your own? We try to hustle, try to bust them, try to cuss them. The cops want someone to bust down on Orleans Avenue. Another day, another dollar, another door, another tower went up where the homeless had their homes. So we pray to as many different gods as there are flowers, but we call religion our friend. Why we're so worried about saving our souls, pray that God will take his toll, that we forget to begin to, but who will save your souls when it comes to the beggars now? Who will save your souls out of those lies that you told, boy? And who will save your souls if you won't save your own? Some are walking, some are talking, some are stalking to kill God's Social Security, but it doesn't pay their bills. There are addictions to feed and there are mouths to pay, so you bargain with the devil, but you're okay for today. Say that you love them, take their money and run, and say it's been swell, sweetheart, but it's just one of those things, those flings, those strings you've got to cut. So get out on those streets, girls, and bust your butts. Who will save your souls when it comes to the flowers now? Who will save your soul if you won't save your own? I'll tell you about that. Buy your time, just buy your time. And that is it. I have no idea if that rendition was anything near Jules' version of it. It seemed close enough to me. I kind of just like the refrain on it, you know. I think I kind of skipped. She does it like the lyric where she's like, "Who will save your soul if you won't save your own?" La di da di da 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 da. Anyways, so I hope you guys all enjoy this week's episode. I'm still in the Charlottesville area, and you know, life is life. The dog and I are fine out here. At least it's nowhere near as dangerous as the area I used to live in, because I used to be up in that easy area. And you know, things are just kind of what they are. So, but I hope you're all doing well and keeping healthy and kind of keeping your heads up, because it's a really strange time and there's a lot going on in the world right now. And of course, I think there's been a lot going on for quite a while. It's just, I've seen an awful lot of movement that I thought was really positive lately. I feel like there's really positive, good things happening. And especially for those of us who've been waiting a really long time for it to happen. So, hope you're doing well and take care and have a good day after you watch this little episode.